Hi everybody, I'm Ryan, and today we're going to talk about nuances in Esper Self Bounce in Standard. These are play patterns that you might not know about if you're first picking up this deck, or you might just be learning about even if you haven't played the deck. So let's jump into it. I just want to explain why bouncing is good in this deck. So the overall idea of the deck is that you have a bunch of very cheap permanents, whether it be enchantments or creatures, that do something when they enter the battlefield. And then generally, most of the time, just sit there after they enter the battlefield. And then you also have these cards that are not very powerful because the downside of the card is they have to return one of your things to your hand, like Fear of Isolation or This Town Ain't Big Enough. But if you can build your deck so that is not a downside, you return these permanents that you want to return to your hand so you can replay because you basically only want the end of the battlefield effect, then you have a deck. That's what this deck is trying to do. And that's why bouncing is very good. You turn a weakness of these pretty powerful cards into a strength. Now, speaking of This Town Ain't Big Enough, it's a 5 mana instant that says it costs 3 less if it targets a permanent you control. It says return 2 target non-land permanents to their owner's hand. Now, very often when we think of This Town Ain't Big Enough, we think of the Esper deck tapping 5 mana, returning 2 things so they can like jam for lethal or something, or more often returning 1 thing of the Esper deck's 1 thing of their opponents. But remember, This Town Ain't Big Enough can return 2 of the Esper deck's own permanents to their hand, which very often is the most powerful play because, again, your deck is built to play this stuff and capitalize on those enter the battlefield effects. Also remember Storm Chaser's Challenge, it takes a lot of mana, so it's really only good in matchups that like go really long. But remember, level 2 of Storm Chaser's Challenge can grab This Town Ain't Big Enough from the graveyard, and then you can cast This Town Ain't Big Enough to return Storm Chaser's Challenge to kind of reset, get another Otter, level up Storm Chaser's Challenge, grab This Town Ain't Big Enough, and then you can repeat that. Again, it costs a lot of mana, but This Town Ain't Big Enough can return Storm Chaser's Challenge and something else, so you can get a lot of value just from like kind of doing that cycle and applying pressure with the Otters. Now, the rest of this deck, as long as you understand like the basic mechanics of it, are pretty straightforward, but it is so fun and so powerful watching the engine really go. Now, if you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social medias. Links are above me and in the description. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.